Hello there guys, it's Tonka here, and we're here today on Uncivil Engineering for a map breakdown. This is our semi-final map for the Over the Void Lane tournament, and so both teams will be playing this map, and without further ado, let's get started. So some of you may already know this map as it's been around for quite a long time, however there have been some relatively new additions, and as with the updates of the game in general, so let's get started. So first of all, you've got a standard water drop. It's quite a long water drop, and so teams often head to the glass to try and make their way down. So a lot of time can be gained there, so it's quite an interesting start. Then teams move on to the forest. Not too much to be found here, except for this chest really, which has quite a lot of supplies, from swords to bows, you name it, it's there. So once teams get their way through the forest, which they'll want to light up, to make sure no mobs spawn and hassle them later on, they're faced with a first but huge challenge. They have to try and make their way down to the bottom while staying, alive and being able to get down there as often as they want. So it'll be interesting to see if any new tactics arise, or what tactics teams choose, if teams choose the same ones, and as well as that, if teams are able to kind of disrupt each other whilst they're trying to do anything with these. For instance, if they're trying to, I don't know, ladder drop, if a team manages to shoot their opponents whilst they're trying to do that, it can cause a lot of issues. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes about. So once they get down to the bottom, they're faced with some furnaces, a chest with a few picks and redstone, and if teams need it, there are some more kind of arrows and bows to kind of keep the early PvP going strong, as kills could happen, and it'd be sad to see no bows being seen on one side at this point of the game. There are some mines underneath with coal and iron. I don't think they'll get much play, but we never know. Teams may search there for something that could help them. Then we come up to the pyramid. This is where our first wall is found, and it is a mainly PvE wall with the an option for PvP due to its kind of openness. So teams have to make their way through all this gold ore. So it can't be mined with anything less than a stone pick to be collected at a fast speed. So teams will need to deal with this accordingly, either getting like TNT to blow it up or an iron pick. But they'll need to make their way through this with all the mobs and the creepers trying to stop them as they go. And finally, once they get their way through, then they'll be treated. As you can see, there's another gold ore block just that you have to break to get through. And once they get here, they press the button and the yellow wall will come through. So it's a relatively simple wall in kind of theory, and in practice, teams will have to, getting through here isn't really an early game common tendency, as teams often leave it to late, but as of recent games, it's become a big kind of point of contention. I remember a very recent game, a team managed to stall out the enemy at the first wall and come back to win it. So it's seen a lot more play as with the updates, as mobs are getting harder and all of a sudden it's a lot easier to hold down. As well as that, beneath the first wall is a solo iron block. I don't know if that will be used or not. Anyhow, if teams choose to go over the mountain, pyramid I mean, then there are some more basic supplies with lots of leather and arrows to get them started. Then upon making their way down, they will come to the MAG, which is the Mutually Assured Generosity Station. So, both teams have the option to press the button. The first team that presses the button will get the loot, but it will be of a lesser quantities. And so we got a power 3 bow, not full durability, with a stack of arrows, 3 iron blocks, and 3 blaze rods. Now, if you compare that to the team that doesn't press the button first, they get 3 iron blocks, more durability on their power 3, more arrows, a fire resistant potion, still 3 blaze rods, and a diamond block. So the difference is really quite large, especially considering there's in the second wall, which I'll move on to next. So it'll be interesting to see if teams kind of plan to stall out in any sort of way. If maybe in certain games the button won't be pressed at all, or if teams will rush to press the button. This is kind of a very interesting part of this map, which really keeps it very kind of tense, because you never know. It's something that varies every time. You can't consistently have this in your strategy. You can't, you know, ensure that the other team will press the button first, or you'll get there in time to press the button. So it's a very interesting point in this map, and it'll be something we need to look out for in the matches. Now moving up, we see a lot of picks and general niceties, which is quite useful for this kind of path here. There's going to be a lot of blocks that teams might want to destroy because it's quite a hectic path and very dark, which allows a lot of mobs to spawn, creating a lot of hassle, especially once you're being PvP'd at the same time. However, if teams get through, then they'll be treated to the second wall, which is curtain call. So upon digging down through this gravel, they will enter the curtains of lava. So to get through these, teams will have to use some sort of methods. They could use the fire resistant potion, but they cannot guarantee that, remember. The other team has to press it first for them to get the fire resistance for this wall. So it's not something they can guarantee to have. And upon making it through one curtain, they then have like this kind of mazy part where they have to dodge any lava. If they touch it once, it can be really, really painful, as lava does kind of burn for a really long time in comparison to, say, fire. And once they get to this part, they don't have to go all the way to the top and through, because there's a bedrock barrier, and then drop down again. So it's quite a long one. There's a lot of room for PvP. I would definitely expect to lock down at this point, because just getting one shot and knocking your enemy into the lava can really, really slow you down. Now there is a wall of cobble. Upon breaking through, you get another wall of lava, and then once getting through that, you get through to another wall of cobble. And then once you break through this wall of cobble, you then have 3 more walls of lava, which you have to get through in turn to get to the wall box. Once you get through, once again you go round and you press the button for the orange wall. Then you have the troubles of getting back out, but you know, if you've done it one way, you can generally set up things to make it easier to get out. However, teams can still give you a lot of hassle on the way out. It's not guaranteed once you get it that you're going to get it out, because it's not really a lot of pass-around spots for this wall, as there's a lot of protection from bedrock. So it'll be interesting to see how teams go about this, if there's any new tactics, or how the lockdowns are going to be placed, if they're going to be placed here on first wall or third wall, or even elsewhere. Maybe they're going to have like a roaming lockdown, or say, just, you know, the mag area. And as well as that, there are a lot of resources above it. So, for instance, in here, there are slime balls, gunpowder, more arrows, feathers, insta-feast potion. This completely satisfies your hunger, which is something new, which is like one of the updates with the new 1.7, etc., where the map's been updated. And then if you come to this redstone part, you will find a power 1 bow, a punch 1 bow, a flame 1 bow, and an infinity 1 bow. So these 4 bows are extremely powerful, and they can create absolute like hecticness around any point in the map, especially around the second wall. If you know, they can just go straight for it and straight away be shutting down people on second wall. If a punch bow hits you and knocks you into the lava, then you're almost definitely going to die, especially if you only have, say, leather armor at that point in the game. Upon moving down, you get to this nice little chute with diamond blocks in it. Teams may choose to try and fish these out, but they're quite difficult to get to. So we'll have to see if teams risk the time and effort in trying to get them. So we go into the main office, and in here there are a lot of kind of brewing stands where teams can, you know, brew as they please. As well as that, some extra food and blocks. So with the new kind of version of the game, food is a lot more important. And in here, potion of healing is in health 2, potion of regeneration, regeneration 2, and potion of swiftness, speed, just normal. As well as that, there are kind of basic brewing supplies. So teams may be brewing away if they so choose. Your favourite chemical, so get some extra TNT as well as the gunpowder to make extra TNT. So we could be seeing some cannons being made around here. And here we are at the third wall. This is gridlock. And first of all, you need these 3 redstone torches to place on the obsidian beacons like so. But before we go down to look at those, here once again are power 2, punch 2, flame 1 and infinity 1. Now these are really going to be a case for contention because they're so far away from the start, teams can get here a lot quicker than the other if they so choose to rush it. So teams can get those bows and try and stop the team from getting up or to the bows, because they can really help you in a game, locking down any wall really. Power 2, punch 2 are really strong, especially on the kind of the size of the map. Punch 2 will really knock you off from pretty much anywhere. Anyway, let's go into this third wall. So we go down, and if we zoom out a bit, and maybe drink a night vision potion, just so we can see. So we see the 3 obsidian pillars which the beacons must be lit on. So that's put a redstone torch on here, a redstone torch on here, and finally a redstone torch in here, before heading all the way to the wall box over here to get in and grab the final wall. There you go, it is red wall available when lit. So they press this button and the red wall will funnel through. So upon that, they would have all 3 walls. However, it's not so easy. I'm in creative mode, I'm flying around, and there are no mobs spawned. In the actual game, this wall can be terrible. Especially with the bows being available, it can be completely hectic, as teams have to make their way down, and there are usually at least 1 mob per kind of obsidian pillar. So teams can expect a lot of skeletons to be trying to give them hassle, or creepers. So it's not an easy one to deal with, but it is the third and final wall. So once that, they can complete the map as they choose. However, this is kind of like a bonus part of the map. This is the bonus vault, and it's 30 blocks ahead. First team to place 24 redstone torches on the raised bedrock blocks wins some very useful items. Fair warning, only 1 team gets loot, the second team gets nothing. Don't be a second team. Oh, and bring your own redstone torches. So, teams here get 2 diamond blocks if they can collect them, but if they so choose to go out to this bonus vault, then they have to make their way all the way up here and place redstone torches on all of these. There's a catch. There's always a catch, isn't there? So if they so break them and it gets through, then they will be rewarded with this chest, which has full diamond with a feather falling 5 boots. You shall not be moved. It has knockback resistance. So this is something else that has been added as of the latest version. If you get shot with a punch bow, you will. I'm not sure if you get moved at all, even with the punch. You definitely don't get moved with a normal bow, but you may only get moved slightly with a punch bow. So these are very important with like the punch aspect. As well as that, it's a power 5, punch 2, flame 1 with 95 durability. So once again, these items are huge. These have been updated really so, because it was something that really didn't get used much previously, but with the latest update, I think teams could definitely be going for this, as it's something that could really help. 5 minutes of constant nourishment, regeneration 3, speed 2, and well, yeah, just all these things can be definitely used. Sharpness 4, that can easily get you through any wall of PvE. With these, any wall becomes somewhat easy. With 3 ender pearls, if a team gets up here, they can just ender pearl back. So it will definitely be interesting to see if teams take the time to go up here, because the reward being so much greater now seems definitely worth it if teams can kind of find a way to fit it into their plan. Well, we've seen where the free walls are, so upon completing them all, teams will have to make all the way back, which is quite a long distance from the end of the map to the front. But once they do, the usual old tactic was for teams to grab the wall and place it behind. However, it's now being covered up with bedrock, as it was somewhat it felt like a somewhat cheap tactic, as teams would just go there and there was no kind of worry, there was no kind of risk, and teams would just block off, and there wouldn't be in kind of any hassle whilst trying to pass it around. Now, if teams don't choose to go for a pass round, at least there is some form of risk where the other team can shoot them, as they can't block off this while still passing it around. So if teams do pass it round, or they use other tactics, maybe they just climb back up the ladders, then they will just have to head their way to the back to the monument at the start and place the red, orange, yellow wall down, and they will be the winners. So guys, that's Uncivil Engineering. We'll be seeing 2 matches on that. We have one game between 404 Walnut Found and Rush Fall, and we also have another game between EuroPP, Girl Scout Handlers 2.0 and Bread Brigade. I hope you enjoyed this map breakdown. This has been Tonko. Peace.